Hello to the chicos and the chicas. Today we are going to take a detour from the Chess World Cup. Maggie went through with it, got knocked out, things happened, we will return. Don't worry. But today, I've got a video idea in my head that I wanted to share with you, and that is going to take us back to the evergreen topic of the London. And despite your expectations, I'm not going to smack talk the opening at all today. I'm going to, however, show you a trick and a strategic idea, in fact two, but one in particular that I really want to emphasize, that I think a lot of people are unfamiliar with, and I think that this may allow you to score a few reasonably easy or easier victories. So let's dive right into it. In this game, my opponent was, as you can see, a 2700 rated international master in the blitz department. I don't want to sound cocky, but none of that rating showed. So we are playing the line that I recommend in my Chessable course, which you should definitely get if you are looking for a rock solid yet ambitious and aggressive black repertoire, in which I deal, by the way, very thoroughly with all the system setups, including the London, including the London. Queen b6, queen b3, c4. This is one of our main lines, and we are going to talk about today about this trade variation, which is not good at all, but is very frequently played both on .com and Lichess levels. And here my opponent played a3 with the hope of stopping black's main play, which is this b5, b4 push. The story, however, is that a3 doesn't stop it at all, because b4 just lands on time. Oopsie daisy, I got a bit too excited with pressing the right arrow key. So b4 just lands on time to catch the rook in the pin. That's the key motive, so that cb knight b4 can't be captured. And funnily enough, the strategic idea is none other than rinse, repeat, and play b5, b4 again, and eventually single out the b2 pawn as our ultimate target. Bishop e2 was played, b5 was played, knight e5, bishop b7, taking care of the hanging knight, g4 and e6. What I really like about this whole entire setup and the surrounding ideas is the fact that they're super easy and super logical. All we want to do is complete development, play b4, and win a chess game. And that's exactly what you are going to observe is going to happen. My opponent played g5, knight d7. That forces me to trade their best piece, so thank you very much. Knight d7, king d7, h4, totally meaningless stuff. b4, and white is on the verge of resignation. Like, this game really makes it look very easy, as does the next one, by the way. But really, truly, once you have got this strategic concept in your head of where we are headed with this whole entire setup, it's just easy going. It really is. It just flows. It just plays itself. Like right here, a takes b4, bishop takes b4, and this pin is absolutely lethal. Not to mention the rook a to rook b2, rook a to rook b2 ideas. So he couldn't even do that. He castled out of this, giving me a free pawn. And from here on, conversion was child's play. Although this b-file counterplay was a bit annoying, and I didn't quite see everything clearly when I played my moves. Including rook b6. This is an inaccuracy. Rook a7 would have been the cleanest. So here I needed to be a little bit tactically clever. Bishop d6 and rook a1. It does look like I'm in some sort of a pickle, but luckily I managed to escape this by playing takes f4. If they take on a6, we just trade, and then I pull the bishop back to c7, easy win. And if they take f4, I just have time to take d4, hitting the bishop with a tempo. And if the bishop moves, I also get to move my bishop to a secure square. Now I'm threatening to trap the rook. We are looking to trade another rook. And of course, after take, and then rook check, I can just casually slide to c6 or d6, not sure. And then either go in, but perhaps even better is c3. And there is a new queen already getting ready to jump on the board. The game is over. So now comes the Saccarino that I really want to show you. And this game is so precious to me for multiple reasons. One, this guy that I beat here is almost 2800 at the time of the game. And the manner in which we defeated our opponent here was absolutely, yeah. Let's just grab the popcorn and have a look at what happened. So one way to treat this whole queen takes shebang differently by white is to play this very early knight a3. Yet another concept that I'm covering in extreme detail not extreme, but thorough detail in my Chessable course. And here, there's a marvelous concept for black, which is going to come to the fore in 2 more moves. So after knight a3, I played bishop f5, which is one of the best moves. And white usually throws in knight b5 or bishop c7. Suffice to say, neither of them cause any serious trouble for us. However, after my opponent's bishop e2, I played here a move that is basically the core of the video, the very idea of what I want to show you today. But before I do that, now I will show you the move. So, the best move in my opinion here is Boomski. Let me confirm that. Boomski! Boomski. And this exchange sack is something that I've spoken about, I think, in other videos, but I'm going to repeat that now. This absolutely rips into white's setup with brutal power. And the idea is that after BA, it is so ridiculously difficult to keep these pawns protected. So we start off with knight e4, has to be protected with rook c1, and after e6, you realize that one by one, all of these pawns, like ripe cherries, will be picked off. And if a4, I don't care, I'm still going after you. And the rook has nowhere good to go because rook c2 allows knight f2, as you will see it in the game. And I don't even care if these drops, or at least one of them, knight c3, rook b6. And I think knight a5 keeps the b7 pawn on the board. And white is in this peculiar situation where it seems like white is doing so great, but the reality is that they just don't have a good follow-up. They can't castle because this hangs. The bishop has nowhere good to go. I mean, bishop d1 is just a tragic move to look at. Probably best, by the way. And even here after king e7, if they castle, then we have got bishop d3 ideas. It just looks like the black pieces are so much more present on the board. And check this out. f6. Positional domination in true Spassky style. This is really deep though, and I didn't want to go into this very deeply because this was not the main avenue of the attack, but this gives you an idea of just how potent this exchange sack is. What I wanted to tell you was that I found quite a number of high-profile games played by players both 24, even 2500 plus on both sides. I think 7 of them exactly, and none of them featured this. Like, this is a new idea, relatively speaking. And look at what absolute carnage I managed to inflict upon my opponent. I played knight e4, rook c1, e6, and they played knight d2. Now, from here on out, it is downhill of the worst kind. Bishop takes a3. This was their last chance to make a game out of it by playing rook b1, once again utilizing that the bishop's diagonal is temporarily covered. But after knight takes c3, rook b6, and let's say knight a5, or even castles. Now I think I can castle too. This is just a supreme version. Knight b4 maybe? Yeah, bishop b4, knight b4, or rook a8 are all favorites of the engine. And white is in all sorts of misery here. And now on bishop d1, I even have bishop d3 to cut off the castling. It is just a really, really awesome variation and idea. I really highly recommend you to try it out yourself to see how dynamic and how engaging and how aggressive it really is. Lots and lots of fun to be had. Also note that bishop b4 is a very dirty move here with ideas of knight b1, knight e4, you name it. It's just like, yeah, playground for chess players is what this position is. My opponent completely fell apart after bishop a3 though, playing rook c2, placing the rook even more conveniently in the discovered attack, not x-ray, by the way, the discovered attack of the bishop, which I utilized with knight takes f2. He played e4, knight takes e4 was played, he played knight takes, bishop takes, and I played b5 because I remember my strategy and I just want to go b5, b4. At this point I noticed that I was up by about 13 pawns, with further pawns hanging for free. And this created a theme in my head that actually materialized in the game. Check this out. Bishop f3, I'm like, nah, I like that bishop because it really does do a great job in covering these squares so that the rooks are quite inactive. King d7, getting casually ready for b4, but also for rook a8, rook e2, a total torture fest. Rook e1, b4, doing what I need to do. Takes on c3 because h5 is not threatening anything. Go into d3. Picked up another pawn. Picked up another pawn on d4. And I'm like, hang on a second, how many pawns do I have already? And so right now I'm up 5 pawns, barring the exchange. And I'm like, okay, wait for it. No, you don't get to take my pawn. No. Watch a2 pawn. Yeah. Bishop f7. Oh, no. He wants to pick off d5. He wants to pick off h7. Now bishop takes h7 would lose the pawn and the piece. The rook takes h6 check. So king g1 was played, and after rook takes h6, the game was over. My opponent resigned here, and I took stock, and I realized, although I was aware of it, but somehow I just really did double check if I was correct. I still have all my 8 pawns. Every single one of my little foot soldiers are still on the board versus one pawn against 8. I don't think I've ever played a game in my life with that level of discrepancy in the number of pawns. But I go further and I will say that I don't think that there are many known games in chess history where such mowing of one side's pawns took place. Needless to say, as you can tell, I was mighty pleased. Summary to the business. So in the queen trade variations in the London, you definitely want to heavily focus on this b5 b4 break, and when the knight lands on a3, this exchange sack idea with further harassment on these 3 pawns is an insanely dangerous and very potent attacking setup that I very highly recommend to all of those who are following my advice and play against the London like so. On that note, I'm going to thank you for your attention. I've got a few videos already recorded, some really tremendous coaching sessions. I've got a few other things in the making, as well as, of course, we'll be recapping some further World Cup events. So please make sure that you stay tuned. Don't forget to sub, to like me. Don't forget, please, to drop a comment in the video, or below rather the video, because that helps me. And if you can afford, you can click that super thank button down there, which will directly support the cause of me making more YouTube videos. Thanks again for watching. I will be back with the next soon. Bye.